Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is another one of our weekly guided reflection sessions where we're going to take about 40 to 50 minutes out of our day to simply just ask ourselves simple questions to think more about our life so that moving forward, we can be more precise in the actions we want to take, in the direction we want to go, right? And we're going to start by how we normally do, and that's just 5 minutes of breathing. Can you believe it? Just 5 minutes of breathing. So I'm going to set a timer here for 5 minutes. And all we're going to do is just sit here and just breathe in and breathe out. If thoughts come to mind, which they certainly will, just let them pass. We're just concentrating on our breathing. Try to sit up straight if you're able to. Well, wasn't that nice? Wow. I'm on the farm, in nature. I feel like these recent 5 minutes have been really relaxing of these recordings. All right, let's begin. First question, what are we grateful for? So many things to be grateful for, and it helps to just, take some time out and think about it. Take some time. Gratitude and patience. Great ingredients for feeling better or improving our lives. Gratitude. Now you can either be writing or thinking or typing, but it helps to just pose the question to ourselves, right? If we're not doing it on a regular basis or like scheduling time throughout our day, very often we'll miss that fundamental aspect of life, of gratitude, that like building block of a healthy life in a way. Next question. Think about the last conversation you had with a friend. How did it go, and how did you feel? What did you talk about? Friendship is a really important part of life. Certainly like a balanced life. Our friends are great, aren't they? Have as many as you can, but make sure you have some really impactful ones. Really like deep level friendships. Friendships. Friends. There have been times where I've really struggled mentally, and then I look at variables or things I've been doing, And oftentimes it's a neglect of friendships that seems to be the core of the stressors or the triggers of a lot of negative thoughts. I think it's really healthy to just check in with friends. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be a big deal, you know? Friendships make the journey more worthwhile, right? You can have all these dreams, you can shoot for the stars, you can get to the stars. But if you're doing it alone, then it's likely not worth it. The cost is really high. So you want to make sure to have just solid friendships, genuine friendships. Yeah, how did you feel? I always feel just relieved. It's like a refreshed, I would say. Most of my interactions with friends over the past recent years have been more one-on-one, I would say. I've always enjoyed like one-on-one conversations, very rich conversations. You can really, dive into topics and life, and it's harder to do that with bigger groups, It's harder to connect like that. You certainly can, but yeah. All right, this next question. How do we organize our non-digital media? For example, I have, throughout my years, buying CDs with music, and I came across a box of just like CD cases, like an Usher CD or the Beatles or John Legend or the Essential Jacksons. There's so many. What do you do with those hard cases? Do you tuck them away somewhere and really be non-committal about it, like myself? Do you throw them away, or do you display them, and you put them in a space that can be seen? Yeah, that's a question I'm curious about, how other people go about, are you keeping your CDs and DVDs of movies in the past, even though you can just easily stream it somewhere or pay $1.99 and rent it for a night? Like, what? Do you buy the digital copy and spend like $20 on it or something like that? I don't know. I guess I'm curious about that, but I do think it's important to kind of ask or be intentional about, okay, what's our plan for this? Because then it can clutter things up, I guess. I don't know. Came across some VHS tapes. Not really ones that I've watched or collected. It was that the VHS was more my childhood, I would say. But then, like teenage years, DVDs were big. Right before like Blu-ray. don't know, I feel like VHSs and the cases look more like artwork that can be displayed, like a novelty, whereas like DVD cases, CD cases are just kind of tacky, in my opinion. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what I should do with this. At a certain point, is there going to be like a fad or fashion to display all your old stuff like that? I don't know. But I don't think they're artistic enough to have more value. Like vinyl has value. But I don't know. CDs, DVDs feels very cheap. I mean, even VHS, there's like tape in it, you know? Yeah, so maybe DVDs, they are digital, aren't they? Because they were digitally burned, yeah. What's your favorite movie you own that you watch over and over again? I came across A Night at the Roxbury today, and it just instantly kind of brought these memories back of a time in life where I watched that and it was like the funniest thing, or it was like a joke with friends, or we were just like really energized by it, or aspects of it. So think, what's a favorite one, and then also why, and what memories are attached with it? And with this question, I don't necessarily mean the movie itself, but more so the environment around the context of how you're watching it. So I downloaded this app called PlantNet, and what it does is PlantNet, yeah. It allows me to identify different plants. So I've been going around and I just identifying different plants. I'm under a bur oak right now. Bur oak tree. It's like, it's an oak tree, but what in particular? Some white oaks over there. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good app. I always think about like explorers. And nowadays, we often don't come across species, especially like plants that we don't know. Well, I try to imagine like what that would be like. Never knowing about this plant. You see it. And then naming it, that'd be crazy. So, what's your favorite app that's brought value to you recently? Try not to justify a social media app. Think about a different app on your phone. The problem with the PlantNet app, though, is that it has a hard time recognizing fungi. There's a handful of fungi I want to identify in the woods, but they don't come up. It's like plants, bark, flowers, and what's the other one? Well, now I'm getting kind of sucked into it. Anyways. There's this other one I was thinking about called Plant something. And it would help identify and then help you create like a watering schedule or identify how often it needs to be watered, plant care. It's an area of life where I struggle is plant care. But it's like a $1.99 subscription every month. And it's just, I don't know, something I don't need right now. So if I don't need it, then probably don't subscribe to it. Saw a blue jay this morning. So energized. In the studio, there's this view. It's like a nice window that faces west. And there's these oak trees. And I've seen cardinal there a couple times, but today I saw the blue jay. That was a lot of fun. What's a bird that you enjoy spotting? What's a bird that brings you joy when you see it? Saw like 11 squirrels today. I was in the woods and I just in the middle of this trail, and I just like waited there, and then across the path they kept scurrying, and I started counting them. It was like five all at once, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one. It was like 11. Yeah. That's something I've been meaning to do. I think I brought it up several sessions ago. So I'm interested in identifying plants, the flora, fauna, and clearing the trail in the woods. Took chainsaws to them last weekend. Path is clear, but there's still like twigs and small branches to clear. I use it to start fires, campfires. It's been really healing to just walk through the woods during the day or morning. I can just feel it. It's so I want to say like elemental. No. As a human being, we are animals in the mammal family. You can really feel the energy and the connection from taking a walk in the woods. It's hard to describe, but I can just feel it. Same thing happened like earlier this year, whether we're by the lake or by the ocean or around palm trees or something. It's something we can feel. It's hard to describe to other people. I feel like with our phones, and we're so connected with technology that we don't recognize that connection we have with nature as much. And it's been really healthy to reconnect that way. So why don't we explore that a little bit? When was the last time we felt a connection with nature? going to the county fair tomorrow. It'll be fun. Last year, I went to the county fair on a Sunday, and the next day, I flew to London. So I was in the country, rural America, and then the next day I'm on my way to one of the most special cities in the world. And I hung out there for 8 days, recorded shows. Some friends were on tour, so I recorded 5 sold-out shows all around London. I was with Hobo Johnson and Bone Lane, and we just had such a great time, such an amazing time. And then during the day, I'd be going around the city, and I went to the National Gallery of Art, Natural History Museum, kind of blanking right now. I went to Clapham Hill, or met up with Cecilia. We recorded a podcast episode. Camden. I remember Camden area was interesting. I need to brush up on that trip. It just flew by. It was like a blur. And it really wasn't until something I like doing is taking a lot of photos of kind of just like scenes. And then I put them together in a photo album, and then I play them back as a slideshow. It's for as I get older. It's for the future and for like my life in a way where the memories will start to fade, but the photos will just bring you back. And it's really looking back, watching those photo album slideshows of London where I'm like, wow. Yeah, all those sold out shows, then those museums, but like walking around a lot. I went to a couple other places. What else did I do? I wanted to do the Tower of London, but that was the last day. I was just like walking around. Oh, I had to get a Manchester United hat for a friend, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's not like America where there's so many opportunities to buy sports apparel. It was so difficult to find sports apparel in London. That whole day was searching for a hat for a friend. So it was by the bridge. You know, the bridge, the London Bridge. By the Tower of London. So I didn't go inside, but I was outside. Outside of it, I went to this cafe, had a caprese sandwich, some espresso. That was funny because every show I showed up with a espresso. I was like, "Yo, we're gonna be out till 2 a.m. every night." At 6 p.m. at soundcheck, I'd always show up with some espresso. But then I would get up early. I would work on files. Went to the library. That's what it was. The internet was slow where I was staying, so I went to the British Library around the corner from me. Is it the British Library? Is that what it's called? The main one. And they had pages from Da Vinci's Notebook, poems from Michelangelo, handwritten Beatles lyrics. In My Life was one of them. All these different religious texts. Yeah, Magna Carta was there. And I just happened to stumble upon it. I went into this room after I determined that their internet speed was also very slow. Kensington? That was another area. Anyways. What was the last big change in your life? Like really shocking, jarring change in your life. I'm kind of experiencing mine. Leaving Chicago, where I've been half my life, to the farm. Just have a studio on the farm, be in nature every day. I'll set up a chair, a lawn chair, and I'll watch the sunset over the field. I'll write or read a book. Been reading more. This week I read Sacred Hoops and Awareness. Yeah, it was a big change. Big city life to big country life. Just make sure you're living big in life. Make your life big. No trips on the horizon. I had a friend text me this week. He was like, guess what? It's like, what? I just bought a ticket to Paris. I leave on Friday. So spur of the moment, he just buys a ticket to Paris. And I'm like, amazing. Great for you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so energized for you. He'd never been to Paris, and he's staying in the same neighborhood that I stayed in back in November. And so I was like, I'm going to update my Google list for you. And so I went through my old photos, not my old photos, my photo album of my Paris trip. And with it, if you have an iPhone, it will have it'll have the location. And you can just kind of look it up, figure it out. So I updated my Google list from the trip. Rich Hebron's 2023 experience. And I shared it with him, and there were like 37 spots on there, and I'm so inspired to rendezvous with him when he returns and hear about his trip, and also see if he went to any of those spots. That's cool. He's just going to hang out during the Olympics. Great for him. I'm just like so happy for him. It seems like a lifetime ago, that trip, and it sort of was. When I got back from that trip, my life wasn't the same. The place where I worked, this bar, restaurant that I worked for like 10 years, caught on fire while I was gone. And I learned about it right after reading about the reconstruction of the Notre Dame Cathedral from the fire. And I get a text from a friend, just expletives. And I'm like, what? And then sends a link to a photo, a news article that the restaurant's on fire. And yeah, so I haven't worked there since. But it should reopen sometime in the next year. And I'm energized to return. It's a very special place. It's not what it's described as, you know, a bar, a restaurant. It's more a space, a community, a space that brings people together and create amazing memories and friendships and fun and love and connection, human connection. But that hasn't been the most recent big change. But I was looking at those Paris photos and I'm like, dang. We had a lot of fun. That was an amazing trip. I hadn't looked at those photos like I had with London as much. But looking at those photos, the difference was, no, I shouldn't say that. With London, I was with a lot of people. I was with friends. Paris, I was by myself, but I met friends when I was there. But I was there taking photos for a Nuance and Notes book. This book series I've been working on, Nuance and Notes. So I'll go around taking photos of the designs on building facades, and then eventually I turn them black and white and there's writing to go with it. But every day I would just walk and go to different areas and take photos. But it was like cold and rainy every day. I think it did not rain 1 or 2 days, and I was there for 9 days. And it's in the 40s. So I gotta take a break, so I go inside cafe. I go out for the morning, then go to cafes. After I like got a lot done, probably like 70% of the photos that I need. And I just rest, and then I take my notebook and I write, drink espresso, hang out, walk again, and maybe get some espresso or wine, go somewhere like Paris is a great place for leisure. Both times I was there, though, I was getting a lot of work done. The first one was I was working on Primary Ponderings, the third book I released. So I was in cafes, coffee shops. I didn't know the difference between a cafe and a coffee shop. Coffee shops are more Americanized. It's like productivity, but they close all at like 3. So then I would go back to where I was staying and work there and drink wine and work. But cafes are like bars, and they're open from like 7 a.m. till 2 a.m. But it's not really a place that people be productive, I guess. It's more social. Anyways, do you have a trip you're looking forward to, or let's back it up. What's the most spur of the moment thing you've ever done? For example, my friend just bought a ticket to Paris with 5 days notice. I always thought that'd be a cool experience to be where the Olympics are. I think the Olympics overall are a really great thing for the world. As an American, we win a lot, so I like that. And it's always like us and China and Russia, the top spots. I think isn't England up there quite a bit? I feel like Brazil might be up there. That's more the middling pack. I feel like Russia, China, and the US are always right up there. Germany, France, they're kind of in that like second tier. Yeah, so excited for my friend. That's amazing. Go travel. Like, I feel like traveling is something where I've never had a regret or especially I can't say I've taken a trip where I've regretted the amount of money that I spent on it in a way. Those create memories and stories that you'll have for the rest of your life. And I find as I get older, it's my traveling experiences that come up the most. As far as stories go, as far as experiences. So keep that in mind when you're weighing whether or not to purchase a material item versus experiences. What's an event that you'd like to attend in your life? Whether it's the Olympics, for example, coming up. What's an event that goes on, whether it's a fashion week or a World Fair or the Olympics or a Super Bowl? Like, what's an event that you would really, really enjoy? One that you would look forward to the most? I think the Super Bowl would definitely be cool. I'd like to do that, preferably with my Green Bay Packers in it. And I think the Olympics would be up there. Now that I mentioned Fashion Week, I kind of am interested in that. I think a World Fair would be cool. I'd be down with that. I'm kind of blanking on events right now, I guess. But I think there's a lot of options as far as that go. More and more events have probably become more niche, whether it's, online communities meeting in person, cosplay events. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. One thing I would like to do is the Texas State Fair. I think that would be a lot of fun. I imagine it to be so big and so grand, and that'd be a really neat experience. I would love that. I feel like someone told me that Florida had a big state fair. Callie Jo Cassinson, I think, told me that. Maybe some tech event, something like that. I don't know. I feel like I would appreciate anything. I just like getting out and experiencing stuff. This last question, what are we energized most for the upcoming week? Wearing a hat. I haven't gotten a haircut. I'm not going to get a haircut until after my no caffeine 30 days. So I've been wearing hats a little bit more because I'm just too lazy to do anything with my hair. Yeah, no caffeine. I think I'm 20 days down. I just have 10 left, a home stretch. I want to see if there's a big difference between day 20 and day 30. I suppose it is a third, but I feel I don't need caffeine to wake up in the morning. I think that's a pretty big one. I think most coffee drinkers would have a hard time with that. So I think I'm through that, where now I just want to, what I'm envisioning is allot myself a certain number of drinks per week, like coffee drinks per week, and have them when I want to get the most work done in a day. So we're eliminating the need to just drink it just to wake up for our bodies. So yeah. Anyways, I hope you have a fantastic next week. We'll see you here again, and also just thanks for being here. Thank yourself for being here. Like, show yourself some love, because it's not easy to do this kind of stuff, to slow down from our typical day and just set aside time. It's so difficult, and most people don't do it. But if you do it consistently and over time, you will see results. And the results are so fantastic. So thank you again. We'll see you next week.